Namaskar. Welcome to Conversations with Rakesh. Here's today's question. Rakesh, I'm having serious issues with my boss. I do not agree with many things they want to do in the company. How do I disagree without causing a conflict that might be bad for me? Disagreements from within the ranks historically have proven to be very beneficial. They also have a collateral damage. So let me break your question into three areas. One is why you as a professional should learn to disagree and manage the conflict. Number two, what will happen to your own life if you choose not to disagree and keep it within yourself. And number three, how do you then disagree with the right steps? And I'll give you just my suggestions and guidelines. Um, you know, in the historical area, there was an incident in 1962. There was a Cuban missile crisis. America and Soviet Union were like at loggerheads. They were about to fire that button where nuclear missiles would go up and annihilate the whole world. And this is true. It's a true event. And there is a Soviet submarine which was about to launch that nuclear warhead. But the protocol is that the captain alone cannot decide. There is a number two on the ship, and the number two has to agree. So this is true, and this is like in movies, right? That both of them have their keys and they have to put it inside and they both have to turn on and then press the button and then the missile comes out. This is true. This number two decided to disagree with the commander because he felt that something is wrong. If we press this button, World War III will happen and everybody will die. So he said nothing doing. I am the number two according to the protocol. My agreement is equally important. He put his foot down and there was a mutiny on the submarine. And this inspired a movie called Crimson Tide. If you want to see that movie, it's absolutely brilliant. Gene Hackman, Denzel Washington, very dramatic movie, turn of events. But again, when deep inside you know something is wrong and the person above you is not getting it, you may have to resort to these issues. Now, please be careful. Mutiny is not a great thing in the professional world all the time. So please apply your judgment. I'm just giving an example that disagreements can be favorable to the organization and to the society, and there is collateral damage, and these things do happen. That is number one. Number two is, I worked with Intel, and I must tell you, Intel is a great case study, and I was not there when this happened. Certain managers at Intel wanted to only make memories because the money in 1980s were coming from memories. And certain people below the ranks saw that this is a Niagara fall dip. सब मर जाएंगे क्योंकि Japanese memories were cheaper, better, faster. And these guys could not compete. So one guy actually said that let's go and put all our money on CPU, and disagreements happened, but finally he proved to everyone that CPU is the future, and you know where Intel is right now. There is another movie called Air, the story of Phil Knight and Nike and Sonny Vaccaro. And this came in Prime recently, where there's a marketing budget and they're dividing the marketing budget in various athletes. But Sonny Vaccaro says that I want to put all the marketing money on one player, one, Michael Jordan. And that's the movie about. And that's the disagreement Sonny Vaccaro had with everyone. And he convinced everyone that his way was the right way. And he lived to tell a tale that that was the best decision. Now, coming to your question. If you feel deep inside your heart that your boss is wrong and the management is not listening to you, you must express yourself. That is very important. Because if you don't express yourself, it will impact your self-esteem. फिर तुम घर आओगे कि अरे यार मुझे बोलना चाहिए था, मैंने बोला नहीं. Your values are questioned and you are torn apart. और फिर अंदर से आवाज़ आती है कि I'm not good enough. So it has a hit on your self-esteem and confidence. So if you feel that the right thing is to express yourself, and you have to express your disagreements, please do so and be aware that there is a way to do it. I think the problem in corporate world is कि हमें बहुत डर लगता है कि हमें निकाल देंगे. ऐसा नहीं होता है. I must tell you that there's lot of researches done where people who disagree, ऐसा नहीं है कि लड़ाई करते हैं all the time. Disagreements are said in a nice way. It's a communication art. And if you learn how to disagree in the right way, I don't think you'll be fired. And a lot of people also have this feeling कि मेरे को promotion नहीं मिलेगा, opportunity नहीं आएगी. In the books of my boss, I'll become this bad person. These are all myths and fears of our own imagination. ऐसा नहीं होता. अगर होता भी होगा तो I'm sure if you apply communication and collaboration, you will do a better job. So now let me tell you few suggestions that I have for you on how do you disagree and resolve the conflict with your boss. So here's few things I've written. Step number 1, choose an appropriate time and a place. This is very important. If you have to disagree with your boss, his involvement or her involvement is very important. So you have to time it. Monday morning, 9 o'clock is not a great time to go to your boss and say, I have a disagreement. And Friday evening, when everybody wants to have a good weekend, is not the time. So choose the right time and the right space. So that is step number 1. In fact, you must plan it and ambush it at the right time. Number 2, avoid opinions. Avoid sentences that I think you're wrong, I think you're making a mistake. That's an opinion. And there was this amazing meme I read the other day that the only difference between coffee and opinion is that I asked for coffee. I didn't ask for your opinion. So please don't give opinions, give facts. Be a lot more logical. If you are to express disagreements, the sentences should be why that decision can cause harm, where is the logic, where is the data. Be very curious, थोड़ा research कर लेना और थोड़ा scientific facts के साथ जाना. Number 3, this is where you have to think for the boss. What is important to them? Why are they doing this job? They also want to be successful. They also want the company to grow well. So connect your recommendation to the larger objective. It is not about proving them wrong and you right. कभी कभार क्या होता है, we become very petty in our disagreements. कि I will prove you wrong. That's not a great idea. Look at the larger picture. Think of the other person, think what will benefit them, think what will benefit the company, and then talk about your disagreements and your recommendations. So you have to think what would make the other person listen to you. Number 4, submit your reasoning, but don't put words in their mouth. मतलब ऐसा नहीं कि you start telling them what to do. I think you submit your disagreement and your logic and your sentences. But also after that say ki, hey, it's your decision and you are the boss. This is what I felt I should tell you. And this is why I feel if we do this way, you may get better results, but your call, you decide. And this is very important for them to know that you're not trying to be the boss, you're not trying to disagree and make them look lower than you. So you have to play the game with communication very well. And the last and the most important is something that we don't forget and we don't realize, that once you have expressed your disagreement, don't take it personally. If this person hasn't agreed to your disagreement and has decided to do what they want to do, make peace with it. In fact, close the issue properly. After the whole incident is over, go to the boss and say that, hey, looks like my argument didn't fly through. You've taken a decision. I will support it. And this is a very powerful technique that we miss. हम लोग क्या करते हैं, disagreement को personally लेते हैं. And we then realize कि एक बार disagreement हो गया मतलब dislike. Please remember, these are two different words, dislike and disagreement. You can always disagree with each other and not dislike each other. You can sit together at the same table. You can work together and always win together despite your disagreements. A very big problem our society does is connect disagreement to friendship, relationships, and likability, dislikability. Please don't do it. This is a professional world. You don't agree with the decision, fine. The boss has decided, I commit to the decision and I will sit with you and close the issue. And closing the issue is good for you because it will help you minimize the conflict you have with your boss. So let me summarize the 5 points. Point number 1, please choose an appropriate time and place for expressing the disagreement. Point number 2, do not give opinions. Go prepared, bring facts, bring logic, and that's very important. Point number 3, think of the big picture, what's important to them, what's important to the company, and what's important to you, and connect it. connected to the larger vision that helps everyone. Point number 4, submit your reasoning but don't put words in their mouth. It's their decision finally. And last not least, agar nahi hua kaam, disagreement failed, don't take it personally. Go to the boss and say that, hey, good decision, I'll support you, and close the issue properly. And remember that disagreements do not mean that you dislike the other person. So do it so that your confidence improves. Do it professionally with the right communication. You will realize that if you start to disagree in the right way and help your bosses, they will trust you more and your relationship becomes better and the organization wins. And on that note, stay safe.